Dream, aka Nelly, was on the phone with none other than Lucille May, honey, with none other than Lucy Papers, honey. Yes, the most controversial girl in Ballroom is what Nelly calls her. Child. Well, she was talking about some advice that she had got from Sabrina, the icon Sabrina icon. Run it.
What are some of the things that Sabrina said to you that you still think about?
My most favorite thing that Sabrina told me was, so when we was talking about, like I said, this was around time when I started, really setting into my hormones, and I was getting kind of and stuff like that. Like when we was talking about boys this one time, and I was telling her like, how I like to just, how it goes when I deal with boys and disclosing scene and stuff like that. And then she looked at me and I was like, well, how do you do it? And I was obviously just be telling them, and then she was just like, you should never want to cheat yourself of the experience of being treated like a woman, because when they find out, they treat you differently when they find out, vice versa, before they know. And that just kind of like stuck to me. So from then on, I just, I stopped cheating myself in the experience. I kind of like start like not telling them like upfront, but kind of like withholding it just a little bit, like just just to get like a glimpse of what it was like to be treated like a woman. And then once I kind of got a glimpse of it, it was like, yeah.
So does that mean so in your opinion, what is the proper protocol for?
See, that's the thing. I don't really have a set protocol. Like it kind of varies. So I can only
honey. If you new here, I completely disagree with the advice that Sabrina gave her. I think it was horrible advice. And I'll have Lexi give you an example of why. This is from Lexi's latest episode of Let's Address It. She was on the blue chair.
Where we left off is something that's really, really touching, and something that I want to talk to all of my young trans girls about is the actual fooling trade. I remember it was 2 incidents that I want to talk about, but probably I only get a chance to talk about one because I'm running out of time, you guys. The reason why I stopped actually not telling guys what I was is because I remember it was an occasion. I remember me being in Chicago, Illinois. I remember me being at a club. It was called the Red Dragon. I remember me being in there by myself because I was on tour, grinding, making money. And I remember me meeting a guy in there. He looked just like Nelly from Saint Lunatics and I remember him buying me a few drinks. I remember him like, what you doing afterwards? I told him that I was visiting, and he was like, can he come to my hotel room and smoke with me or whatever? This is when I was smoking weed or whatever, you guys. And I remember when I got outside, it was him and his homie. The homie was dark skinned. He had braids. I remember him driving back to my hotel. I remember him dropping his friend off, and then we proceeded to my hotel. I was staying at this really expensive hotel, and I remember me being like up on the 40 something floor. I was really, really high in the air. I remember me having a balcony with the sliding doors that you can go out on the balcony. I remember at the bottom of the hotel, it was Lake Michigan. Like you could see water, like the ocean, literally. Lake Michigan is the lake, but it looked like an ocean. It was a big body of water. I remember us getting upstairs in the room. I remember me going down on him, and then I remember me being in like my panties and my bra. I remember him being naked, and I remember me, giving him fellatio, and then I remember him trying to take my panties off, and I was still tucked. I was still tucked up underneath, so it appeared like I had a vagina, but I just remember him trying to take them off, and I remember him being really aggressive with me, and I remember him like pushing me back on the bed, and I remember him trying to pull him down, and I remember me trying to pull him up, like, no, what are you doing? And he was like, why we can't do this? What you hiding? And I remember this day like it was yesterday, because that was the day my life flashed before my eyes. I remember that he was like, what you hiding? And I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I was scared, and I was young, and I was like, I'm trans. And he was like, you what? And I just remember him flipping out, like really you a fucking nigga, you a fucking man. And I remember me like, I didn't have a bra on at this point. I just had the thongs on with the strap that holds my, situation up. I had the strap that holds my situation up and the thongs on over top. And I remember him getting up, and I remember him like, it was one of these lamps in the room with the long pole, and it got that circle part at the bottom. I remember him picking it up and like swinging it at me like boom, and you could hear the shit go boom, like it hit the wall. And I remember me falling back on the bed, and I remember me like, I remember him like choking me, like, and I remember him having my back hanging over the balcony of the high up 40 something floor. I remember me looking down, all I seen was water. It was dark. I remember me just thinking, bitch, you gonna die. I'm about to die. And he was choking me, and then I don't know, one of those things happened where like my instincts kicked in, and I said, you gotta fight back, or bitch, you gonna fall, you going over. And I remember me kicking him in his chest, and he like went back into the room. I remember him grabbing the bottle, because I had a bottle of vodka. I remember him grabbing the bottle. I remember him busting it on like the bathroom ground, and he had the neck of the bottle in his hand. And I remember him saying, I can't, but he said, I get too much pussy for this shit, for me to be up here with some fucking nigga. And I was just remember my mind racing like, girl, you're going to have to fight for your life, or you're going to die tonight. And I remember him saying, bitch, I'm about to fucking kill you. And I remember the hotel door room opening. And I remember it being two big black security guards. And they was like, yo, what's going on? You okay, ma'am? And they was like, yo, bro, you got to go. And he dropped the bottle. And I was like, yes, just please, can you just get him out? Like, please just get him out of here. And, I remember them taking him out, and they was like, ma'am, you okay? So once they got him out, the other guy that stayed, I was like, yeah, that's my ex-boyfriend. He found out where I lived at. Can you please just get him out of here? Now, I knew that at that point, when they was escorting him out, he was going to be way too embarrassed to say I was in there with a nigga that was a tranny. So I knew my story would kind of like hold up. I was like, yeah, he just, oh my God, he flipped out on me or whatever. I remember them taking him out. They was like, you want another room? I was like, yes, please give me another room. I remember them giving me I remember when they came in and was like, bro, you got to leave. I remember this man actually looking me in my eyes, and I swear to God on my life, he said, you lucky I left my gun in the car. And he was like, I don't never leave my gun in the car. He said, you was lucky. God was on your side tonight. And when he looked me in my eyes, like I felt like I was going to.
I believe her 100%. And baby, God probably did save your life that night, because you were meant to still be here with us, honey. You ain't done what you supposed to do yet. You ain't finished doing what you supposed to do yet, Lexi, honey. Yes, we love you. We love you for it. We love you for being here, honey. And I love you for spreading this story and spreading awareness to girls that they shouldn't be out here trying to live in this fantasy of being perceived as a cis woman child. Uh, why would you want to be anything other than yourself? Why would you want to be seen as anything other than yourself? I know the answer to that question, because I've been that girl, honey. And if you're new here, I'll tell you the experience that made me no longer want to play that game anymore. Honey, the crying game is always going to have somebody ending in tears. Baby, this was my first time. I've lived in Atlanta a couple of times. But I first ran away and went to Atlanta right after I took my SATs, right after I graduated from high school. Um, and then I came back to Maryland, and then I went back to Atlanta early in my transition. Just to try it out, just to test things out, honey. First night in Atlanta, honey. We on our way there. We drove there. It's like a 9 hour drive where I'm from. And honey, we on the way down there. It's me and there was two other young trans girls, two of my sisters. Honey, we was all trainees, honey, because we was trans and training, honey, baby trans. And so my one homegirl, my one sister had already lived down there. One of my sisters had already lived down there for years. She like grew up in Atlanta, but she from Maryland originally. And the other girl, this was her first time in Atlanta, and so she was like, she was like whispering in my ear, she like, girl, the boys is hitting me up, da 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 da, online or whatever. She was telling me, she was like, get on this Moco space. So I guess on this Moco space, I wasn't really paying it no mind, honey. I'm trying, plot some other things out, honey. I'm trying to find the coin, the Billica, I'm trying to get all these things squared away, honey. She talked about some boys, honey. I was never really boy crazy like that. I always kept me a loyal piece, and that was good enough for me. But anyway, child, so I hopped on this Moco space, honey, randomly, and it was, honey, it was some mud ducks on there. I ain't gonna lie to you, honey. My sister was hype, but I was looking at her and looking at them niggas like, they ain't my type, sister, honey. They don't look like, honey. They look like walking diseases and shit. But anyway, one dude, cute dude, happens to hit me up or whatever. So I exchange numbers with him. Don't really pay it no mind. We text him back and forth here and there. Long story short, we meets up. Soon as I get to Atlanta, he was pressed to meet. Meets up soon as I get to Atlanta. And he was even finer in person. He pulled up in an Explorer. I'll never forget. Pulled up in an Explorer. Pulled up in the driveway. Because it was a little, we had a little garage and all that. Honey, he pulled up in the driveway. Honey, I got in the truck with him. We was smoking and talking, honey. Smoking and talking, honey. Grinning, cheese, and smiling all in each other's face. Everything was cool. I don't know. I don't know if he caught me from an angle. Because mind you, I'm baby trans. I hadn't even had no hormones for real at that point. I think I might have had a couple pills here and there. I had never even had an injection at this point, honey. I guess he had caught me from a certain angle or something. I don't know what it was, but he clocked that. He clocked my tit. And he got dead serious, and he kept reaching in his back seat. And mind you, I'm in the passenger seat. So I'm just playing it cool. So then that's when I start playing dumb, honey. That's when I start playing ditzy. When I get nervous with boys, honey, I start playing dumb. Like, right before I feel like I got to fight for my life, because I'm going to play dumb and take you out. Baby, try to get your defenses down. So, honey, clearly that worked. Because I'm still here. But yeah, honey, he was reaching in the back for his toolie, honey, and he was like playing with it so that he wouldn't like pull it out in front of my face, but he was like playing with it behind the passenger seat, like so I could hear what it was or whatever. And he was like, "You a man?" Or whatever. And so, honey, I played, honey, that's when them actress skills, this classically trained thespian, honey, it came in handsy, honey. I played dumb. You thought I played dumb. Like, I was like, is that what you wanted? Is that what you're into? I was playing real dumb. I was like, just act like I was offended and disgusted. Like, you know, baby, I got out of that truck so quick. I don't even remember walking back into the house because that's how fast I got out of there. It's like I closed one door and was opening another. Long story short, that's why I don't recommend it, honey. Y'all, you can play a million mind games with yourself all you want about playing straight with boys. And don't get me wrong, I get it. A lot of times, as soon as they find out that we trans, they immediately start to fetishize us and over sexualize us. I get it. But when they do that, then that's when you got a chaser. A chaser is a chaser and would be a chaser whether or not you clock your set. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, number two, that like my time is very valuable to me. Like, I'm always thinking of other stuff I could be doing or other people I could be spending my time with than somebody who I have to be afraid to be myself around, to be my true self. If I'm dating you, if I'm trying to develop a romantic connection with you, then you need to be somebody who I can let in my circle and know that I can let in my circle immediately. Otherwise, I'm not dealing with you. It's enough flaws that come up dealing with people's personality and, you clashing with this one, whether and that one, whether it's zodiac sign or whatever. I ain't got time to be wasting my time with somebody that might not accept me completely. So, And I'm not risking my life over it neither. It's too many people who will take me out regardless. They don't need an excuse. Yep. And a lot of times, those boys that y'all fool and trick and play with, they be the ones that, even if they do be down with the tea, they be the ones that end up using y'all to dig in y'all purse until they find their next baby mama. Or they be the ones that end up taking y'all out and leaving y'all in a ditch. You ain't gotta take my advice. You can take Sabrina's if you want. She's still here. And Sabrina is at least mid-40s, because, honey, Sabrina was grown in her 20s when I came out on the scene, honey. And I was a kid. I was a teenager. So, yeah, maybe she gave that advice because she grew up in a different era. But in this day and age, the word transgender and we are too common. The definition of transgender is too common. People know that we exist. People know that we out here now. Back when Sabrina was coming up, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But these days, honey, you 9 out of 10 times you wasting your time anyway, because he done probably already clocked you. A lot of y'all girls ain't as real as y'all think y'all are. No shade.